Breaking Down the Law is sponsored by Battle Born Injury Lawyers.
All right, and as we get into our weekly segment, Breaking Down the Law, we're going to stay on the topic of mass shootings. And, I was thinking as I was reading that, 2016 was the Pulse nightclub, 2017 was ours here in Las Vegas, unfortunately. And then the following year, the shooting in Parkland, Florida. Yeah. It happens every year, it seems like, and we're going to talk about that because just last week, as we bring Matthew Hoffmann here to talk about this and break down the law, we noticed that the security guard in that case, his name is Scott Peterson, he's actually going to be facing charges because the day of the shooting at that high school, as many people know, he stood outside and did not take any action, and now he's going to be facing charges of criminal child neglect. So when you were here last week, I asked you, could that happen here in Nevada? Yeah, and the short answer is yes. Yes, it could. So let's talk about the charges that he's facing there. Why is he being charged, and how can they kind of, what was the loophole there that they were able to use to charge him? Sure. So, the facts of the case are kind of horrifying. Besides the shooting itself, Mr. Peterson was a security officer. He was actually in charge of training other officers how to respond and prevent these kind of things from happening. He's there with a bulletproof vest and a weapon. He hears the shots fired in the building, calls the police, tells the police don't enter the building, there's active shooting going on. Later tells investigators, I thought the shooting was out by the football field, and then proven through video communication or audio communication that's false. And that's where the perjury comes in. But what they're getting him on is under Florida law and Nevada law, you have laws to protect children. Okay. So child neglect. And the Florida law is really vague, and it basically says any parent, guardian, any caregiver, and that's the magic word, a caregiver. In place of the parents, though, in this case, because they're at school, the caregiver would be any of the adults at school. And that's what they're tying it into. So they're saying that you were in the position of a caregiver, you intentionally failed to intervene to prevent abuse. Shooting would be abuse, intentional action to cause bodily harm. And because of that, we're going to charge you criminally. I don't know if it's going to stick. If they get into the legislative intent of that statute, I think they're going to find it was, it's foster homes, it's parents, it's guardians. But good for them that they're going to try to hold this man accountable who had every opportunity to intervene. It's his job. Yeah. And he didn't do it, and multiple children were killed. And if I'm the parent of one of those children who died, I'm wondering, could my child have been spared if this man had done his job, and they'll never know. So now we come to Nevada. We have a similar law regarding schools. Yes. So it could possibly be something that we could see here if it happened at a school, and in this case, the person did not take any action. Yes. So Nevada has a much broader statute, and it doesn't say school specifically. It says parents, guardians, or any institution where a child receives, is taken care of for all or part of the day. Okay. So clearly that means daycare facilities for sure, but schools could easily be included in that definition, and any employees of those kind of institutions. So if, God forbid, something like this happened here, I think that it would have an even better legal argument to hold somebody like Mr. Peterson responsible. Okay, so that's schools, and we have a little bit less than a minute here, but I want to just dive into this. What about all of our casinos? We have guards, security guards everywhere because of that. Would it hold up in that case? So criminally, I don't think so. So the statute deals specifically with child abuse. I see. And we have a similar statute for elder abuse. I see. And so that's kind of the hook of why he's being charged. It was failing to protect children. Kind of the loophole that they were able to find. Yeah, and quite frankly, a good one. Yeah, a really good one. That's your job. Take care of my kids. That's what you were being paid for. But in the casino context, what you would have is a civil liability. So, the security guard, a shooting breaks out, they don't do their job. Any victims or their families could sue the security guards, more likely their employer, and say that you failed to act and seek monetary compensation. But I don't think there'd be any criminal charges. Really interesting. Well, it sets a precedence for sure. As I mentioned, something that we're seeing, major shootings that mark each year as we go along, and something that that we never really had to think about before, but now we do. Yes. And this will be something that maybe could be written into laws later on. Could be. Hey, Matthew, thank you so much for coming on. He's here every single Wednesday as we break down the law and talk about issues here in our state that are affecting people or maybe somewhere else. But we ask, well, what would happen if it happened here? So you can catch him every Wednesday here on News 3 Live at noon.